Hi everyone, welcome back. You guys, we have possibly one of the most exciting videos I've done in quite a while today. I finally got my hands on these from e.l.f. These are the new Camo Color Correctors and I've been waiting on these. I think my order got lost. I ordered these the moment I saw that they released and I just now got them. So you've been asking for this, so we're going to try these out for the first time today. If you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty and makeup content here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you'll subscribe and let's just get in. Let's just get right into it, you guys. I feel like e.l.f. must have heard me when I said a few videos back. I mean, it's been a few weeks, but I did a video about new e.l.f. products. And I said in that video that they needed to make color correctors, and then less than a month later, they did. They did it. So I have the green and the peach. They came out with 5 colors. They came out with peach, green, blue, yellow, and then a darker orange shade. So I cannot wait to try these. And these are $4, you guys, $4. We need more color correctors at the drugstore, 100%. I'm always looking for new ones. In fact, the only color corrector in this type of packaging with a wand that I know of is the Neutrogena Clear Coverage, which I love that one. I have the peach color in that as well, and I love it. But there are not many choices, especially in this type of packaging and applicator. So we're gonna go into the green first. I'm gonna use the green anywhere where I have redness, which for me is mainly just right in this area. I don't always use a green color corrector. I've kind of been dabbling into green primers lately, but it's not something I always do, whereas I always use a corrector under my eyes. So I'll swatch the green for you. So it's a true green. The formula feels very thin. I was expecting it to be a little bit thicker like the Camo Concealer, but the formula actually feels pretty thin and it feels pretty hydrating. So we'll start with this side. I have more redness over here. So I'm gonna start with that amount. I'm gonna use this brush from Sephora and I'm gonna use just a stippling motion to blend this in, because if you're wanting to keep some of that green pigment, you do kind of need to. That's kind of weird. Do you see that? You can like, where I put the stripes, it like didn't stay and then the green like went around it. That's kind of interesting. Okay, that's really, really strange. I'm gonna wipe off what's on my face and start again. The only thing I have on is a little bit of the e.l.f. Whoa Glow SPF. So, okay, yeah, that's really, really weird. Let's try to just go over it and see what happens. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's like not sticking to that area. No, 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 no. Okay. How weird is that? Okay, I'm gonna take this off and I'll be back. Let's try this again. I took everything off and I put a different SPF on this time. I didn't use this. I can't imagine it had anything to do with this since this is an e.l.f. product. So I used this instead, the Beauty of Joseon. I've been using this for months and I've had no issues. I've been using this one too and not having issues. Anyway. So let's try this again. This cannot be a fail. It just can't. And I went and got clean brushes just in case there was something on that other brush. And we shall try this again. Okay. And then I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't leave it sitting there. Like the other time I sat there and kind of left it. Didn't do it that time. Definitely didn't do a whole lot. Let's try adding a little bit more. At least it didn't really separate. The packaging says these are full coverage, so it should give a pretty decent amount of coverage if it is full coverage. So let's try this again. I feel like it did, tone it down slightly. What do you think? I have a good bit of broken capillaries over here. That's what the redness is coming from. And that's very hard to cover. So I don't expect it to cover completely, but I don't know. I don't know that it did a ton. I guess we'll do it also on this side. It's so interesting. Like when I applied those stripes there and I started blending it out, I almost felt like you could still kind of see the little stripes for some reason. I mean, not to the degree of the first time, but I don't know. I feel like the blend on this is kind of strange. I mean, I guess it toned it down a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know about that, you guys, but let's hope the under eye corrector works well. This is the one I'm most excited about because I use this type of product on a daily basis, no matter what. So this is the peach shade. So this is it on my skin tone. Let's try this out. The key typically with color correctors, especially for under the eyes, is it has to be the right shade for your skin tone. And that's where it kind of gets tricky sometimes. But we'll start with this eye. My left eye is usually a little bit darker than my right eye. And I'm gonna use the other side of this brush since it's clean and just start tapping this in. I'm just lightly tapping it because I don't want to move it and I don't want to shear it out. I just want to keep it right where I placed it. And I do bring a little bit in this inner corner on this eye because I have a good bit of blue and purple discoloration there also. So there it is. So I would definitely say this is a little bit more on the orangey side, a little bit less on the peach side, in my opinion. I feel like it has more of an orange tint than a peach. It would need a little bit more pink to it, I feel like, to be considered peach. This is definitely not one I could wear on its own. I almost feel like, I kind of feel the same about this that I feel about this. It's almost like I can see the color around the area instead of like on the area itself that I'm trying to cover. Does that make sense? Probably not, but like, I feel like it's kind of see-through almost. So you get the color in the surrounding areas, but not on the area that you're wanting. Yeah, like I feel like my darkness there is just showing right through. I guess we'll have to wait and see when we put concealer over the top, but yeah, I feel like I just have like an orange tint around my eye and not even where I applied it. I don't know if I'm making sense, but something just feels kind of off about it. But let's do this eye. Also, they claim that this is full coverage, and if it was full coverage, you would not see through it like that. This time, before I blend it in on this eye, I'm gonna let it sit for just a few seconds. I blended it in quickly over here because I didn't want it to dry and not blend out at all. But sometimes, if you're wanting more coverage from products, you do have to let them kind of sit for a few minutes before you blend. It's been a few seconds and we will start tapping this in again. Now this eye for me is typically not quite as dark as the other eye. So I think, I don't know, maybe that added a little bit more coverage by letting it sit for a minute. I just feel like the discoloration goes right through. See, like shows right through. I wish you could talk to me through the screen and tell me if you think the same thing, but I kind of feel the same about both areas. The only other thing I kind of want to try is we'll take a little bit more and add it to the darker side. I will say the formula I like. It's very thin, very lightweight, but I don't know, I feel like maybe it should have been a little bit thicker since they're claiming it's full coverage. Yeah, I don't know. I also think if you have a more fair skin tone, you would definitely need one that's more peach or more pinky and lighter than this. This is not going to work for somebody with fair skin, and it says on the packaging it's for fair to medium skin tones. I mean, I think that added like just a little bit of coverage, but not a ton. I do not know about this, you guys. I think what I'm gonna do is apply a little bit of a skin tint or whatever I decide to put on today, and then I'll come back and we'll see what we think about the green in terms of the redness, and then I will apply some concealer over this and we'll see how it looks and how the darkness does or does not come through the concealer. So I'm gonna apply some skin tint and then I'll be back. Okay, so I applied some of the Revlon Illuminance Skin Caring Foundation. This is beautiful. If you've seen my trying new drugstore makeup video I did, you saw I compared this to the Makeup by Mario foundation, and I actually think I like it better. So anyway, that's what I have on. And now we'll move on to concealer. That Revlon foundation is a lighter medium coverage, so you can definitely still see my skin peeking through. And I did build up a little bit over my cheeks, which is what I normally do with foundation, and you can still kind of see it peeking through, which I feel like if I have a green color corrector underneath that claims to be full coverage, underneath this foundation, I feel like it should be relatively covered. I don't know about this, you guys, but I want to go ahead and put on some concealer and we'll see what we think about this color corrector. So I'm going to use one that I know that I love under my eyes, and that is NARS Radiant Creamy in Creme Brulee. I love this formula and I love this color because it has more of a pinky undertone. And then I'm gonna blend that in with a BK Beauty concealer brush. This is the A506. So with the concealer over the top, dramatic difference. So this eye has the Creme Brulee, this eye just has the Corrector. So yeah, the concealer definitely took care of most of the darkness. I still though feel like there's a little bit of a cast coming through, and I just don't know if it's even gonna pick up on camera. I just don't know about this, you guys. I mean, it looks fine with the concealer. I have other correctors that immediately, as soon as I apply the corrector, it looks 1,000 times better without even putting concealer over the top, and I cannot say that about this. The concealer makes a dramatic difference. I'm torn on this one, you guys. I wanted to love these so bad. And I mean, with the concealer over the top, it looks fine. It's just if you have severe darkness, I don't know that this is going to give you the coverage that you want. Regardless of the color, I don't think this is full coverage, sadly, even though it says Camo Color Corrector, full coverage satin finish. I do like the way it looks is in the finish. The formula is nice, it feels good under the eyes. I don't think the coverage is there. I just don't think the coverage is there. I'm gonna finish my makeup and then I'll come back and we'll take a look one more time. On second thought, you know what we're gonna do, because I think this might be more helpful. I am gonna take this makeup off and we're gonna start over. And I'm gonna do this corrector on one eye and another corrector that I use and have really great results with on the other eye. And we will compare if we think one's doing a better job than the other. I just feel like I want to see them side by side compared to this, just to confirm if it's just me thinking this or not. So I'm going to take this off, or take everything off, and I'll be back and I'll compare with another corrector. I'm back and I redid everything. The only thing I have on my face is I did apply the green color corrector again, but I want to do a side by side of these. So this is the corrector I want to compare it to. If you watch my videos, you've seen me use this before, but this is the Exa High Fidelity Color Corrector in the shade Peach. So I want to show you the difference between the coverage level on these two, and I want you to see it side by side. So there's also a pretty big, I wouldn't say big, but a difference in color. So here are the swatches of the two. This is EXA, this is e.l.f. down here. Do you see how e.l.f. is more orange looking and this one is more of a true peach? So I think that might be one of the issues, is it's a little bit too orange for my personal under eyes. But it, like I said, it all depends on the color that you have under your eyes as to whether a color corrector will work well for you or not. We're gonna do the Exa on my darkest side, which is this side. So I'm gonna apply it here and a little bit here. Switching to a different brush, I'm gonna lightly start tapping this in. So to me, that looks like it covered much better. I don't see as much of my darkness peeking through it like I did with the e.l.f. But let's go ahead and apply e.l.f. on the other side. I'm gonna switch back to the brush we used for the e.l.f. corrector and tap this in. So we have the Exa one on this side and the e.l.f. on this side. So to me, I'm gonna look up close. The e.l.f. side is not bad, but remember this side is not as dark as this side. And I still feel like the e.l.f. side has a little bit of the darkness peeking through. The whole point of a color corrector is if you have the right shade for your personal coloring, you should not need a whole lot of concealer because you're correcting what you're typically using the concealer for, which is to brighten up under your eyes. You can't brighten under your eyes if you don't correct first. So yeah, I think the thing here is, number one, the color is a little bit orangey for me. Now it'll work for some people, but I think if you have pretty fair skin, you're gonna need something less orange, a little more pinky. So I hope they come out with that. And I also think the formula is just a little too thin if they're gonna call it full coverage. It's not full coverage to me. Like, look, if you look here, you can see that darkness straight through. You can see a little bit over here, but not nearly as much as you can over here. And this is my darker eye. So I wanted to show you that just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I try color correctors a lot, so that's why I'm very picky about them, because I've tried almost all of them. And when I tell you I wanted this to be amazing, I wanted this to be amazing because I love e.l.f. I love that they did this for $4. I think that's amazing. I wish the color was a bit better and I wish it had more pigment. I'm gonna go ahead and apply foundation. I'll come back and we'll do concealer. Okay. Again, I applied the same foundation again, the Revlon foundation, and now we'll apply some concealer over the top. When we did this the first time, this made a huge difference on my under eyes, so I'm sure it will this time as well, but let's go ahead and do it. So we'll do this eye first, which has the Exa corrector. And I'm just gonna use that BK Beauty brush to blend this in. So that did a really beautiful job there. And then we'll do the same on the other eye. So I zoomed you in so you could see. So this is the Exa side and this is the e.l.f. side. So with concealer over the top, they don't look as different, obviously. The concealer does a lot of the work. This shade, Creme Brulee from NARS, has a pinky undertone, so it really helps brighten up darkness. So comment below and tell me if you can see a difference with concealer over the top. I'm just going really in depth with this because I really want you to see the difference in color and the amount of pigment. It can make such a difference in how your under eyes look, especially with no concealer. Now, when you put concealer over the top, that can help, obviously, but the color and the pigment make a really big difference. So I wanted to show you the side by side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup this time, and I will come back and give you my final thoughts. Okay, I finished my makeup and I wanted to just quickly close out the video and tell you what my thoughts are on these correctors. I think they're okay. I'm not blown away by them though, and it kills me to say that. I wish that I was, because I really wanted to love these. I love trying color correctors. It's one of my favorite things. I think they make the biggest difference in how your makeup looks, and I think they're very highly underrated. I love that they did this for $4. I think that is amazing. I love the formula. I think it looks very flattering under the eyes in terms of the texture, and just overall it's very nice, very thin, very lightweight, but the pigment is just not there. I wish they had more coverage. I do not agree that they're full coverage. I definitely think they are a bit watery to me. Yeah, that's how I would describe them, kind of a watery consistency. So you can see a little bit of color there, but not opaque pigment. So it depends on the person and your level of darkness and what you're looking for. But I typically like something that does a pretty good job of getting rid of all the darkness before I even go in with concealer. So for that reason, I just don't love them. I think they're okay. I just wish the pigment was better. Also, I think they need to absolutely come out with at least one more shade that's pink, because I feel like the peach is just too orange. It needs a little more pink in there. And if you're very fair, like I said earlier, it's going to be too dark. You're not going to be able to use that. It reminds me of the NARS color corrector. I reviewed those long ago and I liked the formula. I kind of said the same thing, or I kind of feel the same way about the NARS. I don't own the NARS corrector anymore. I did end up decluttering mine, mainly because of the color. Again, I found that they all run pretty orange. There's not enough pink in the colors, and that will work for some people, but it's not going to work for everybody. I personally like something that has a little bit more of a pinky tone to it. I just find it works better for me. So that's what they remind me of. I think it's a pretty good dupe for that one, but that's not my favorite color corrector. And this one, kind of the same. It's okay. It's not what I was hoping for though. And as far as the green goes, I feel like kind of the same with this. I feel like it didn't do a whole lot. Maybe, again, because of that really thin consistency, it just doesn't give a whole lot of coverage, which is interesting because I would think from a camo line, it would have full coverage. But this, in my opinion, is definitely not. I would skip the green altogether and just maybe use a green primer if you want, or just go in with some additional concealer if you need more coverage. But I just don't think this did enough to justify me wanting to use it all the time. So I know this was kind of a long video. I did this because I wanted to really explain my reasoning, and I just enjoy color correctors. I feel like there's not enough information on them, and I feel like they're just very underrated. In my opinion, they make such a huge difference. So I hope this was helpful for you. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you next time. Remember, simply be you. Bye.